Hi, I'm Rochelle, and this is Michael. So Michael, before we begin, let's talk a little bit about permeation. What is permeation?
Sure. Just in a nutshell, permeation is simply the process by which some permeant is permeating through a solid material, which could be, in this case, a packaged sidewall.
Right.
And it's really all dependent on what that material's diffusivity is, how fast that process is. So if we understand the barrier properties of our packaging, that allows us to properly calculate the product shelf life.
So tell us a little bit about the OX-TRAN 240 for permeation testing.
So this instrument here, it's for testing whole packages. And as you can see, when we open it, we can simultaneously analyze 4 packages because there's 4 test cells.
Right.
Now in our industry, a package is anything that's not a film, right?
Right.
And this is also in accordance with ASTM standard F1307. It allows one to do sample profiling as well as R&D research. The biggest feature that I'm really in love with is that you can automatically control the temperature and RH in this humidified environment, which is huge.
So over the years, we've tested all types of packages with different features. Explain why this instrument improves accuracy with testing whole packages.
Well, you remember in the past, whenever we wanted to test a sample at other than ambient conditions, we would have to run them into a chamber, we'd have to generate the relative humidity ourselves, and we would have to ensure that that's a stable condition,
right.
Which can take anywhere from 2 to 8 hours because it's all trial and error, right?
Right, and constant monitoring. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And with this instrument here, this is all done automatically, so it holds a very stable temperature and a very stable RH. And what that allows is every time you run a test, you're getting the same challenge conditions.
Right.
So you're not fumbling and with dials and turning things down and turning things on. So it really adds efficiency to that aspect of testing.
Yes.
And another great feature is that you can set this from a low temp to a high temp, and it comes to thermal equilibrium within an hour.
Nice.
So as we look inside here, we have the ability to test 4 samples simultaneously. And we have the RH generator here, and everything's very tightly monitored, even to the point to where you can look on the software and pull up what the past temperature and RH was doing. And you can monitor and see how tightly this is really controlled.
So for a technician, it's quite easy.
The ease of use feature goes up 100% with this.
Very
Yep.
good. So it seems like that's going to really improve repeatability.
Exactly. The point that I just made does improve repeatability, and it also improves accuracy. How we improve on repeatability even further is we have these epoxyless test cartridges. As you see the K-Cup one here, there's no epoxy, so you don't have to worry, is your epoxy going to set up the same? I know you understand some epoxy batches can be a little different.
Right.
So you always get the same repeatable seal no matter how you test it. As long as you put all of them in the same way, you're good to go.
Right.
And it's very quick and easy because there's no, like I said, there's no epoxy. And also, we have these pre-cut foils here for testing packages, which allows us to basically have the same seal every time we go to test, because we'll seal this within a cartridge and place it, engage it in the instrument. And this is better than a plate.
Nice.
As we're used to doing because of the epoxy issue.
Exactly.
And then also, if you take a look, these are most generally soldered, and these solder points over time from the wear and tear, it can actually form tiny holes. I'm sure you've experienced that, right?
Absolutely.
And not to mention these nut and ferrule connections. These really have to be pristine to get
They
a good connection.
You're right.
Whereas we don't have to worry about any of that.
Those features.
Yeah.
Nice. So that brings up a really good point. We know there are expensive environmental chambers available, and we've all had issues with testing with those chambers. So what's the benefit of using the 240 instrument to improve testing?
The 240 is the first fully integrated chamber with a permeation analyzer,
right,
which is groundbreaking in itself. And another feature that sets it apart is any point within this chamber that's within an inch of the sidewall, you'll measure the same temp and RH. So it's ensured that all the packages that you are testing will be at the same challenge conditions.
Nice.
To give you the best practical testing experience. And another huge thing is that without running your lines into a chamber at a higher or lower temp, you won't get condensation in your lines,
right,
which can lead to other issues like maybe bad valves and things of that nature.
Exactly. So what new automatic features allow this instrument to complete whole package testing faster?
Well, we have an auto purge feature,
Nice.
So what that does is that actually allows one to purge the volume of your ambient air out of your package 20 times faster.
Really good.
So we really speeded it up on that front. And then also we have the conditioning in the quick check. So when you set your package up for conditioning, what will happen is you have an auxiliary O2 sensor that will monitor what the oxygen level is within that package before it inserts it into an active test.
Nice.
Now why this is huge is because we've all had the pain of testing multiple samples. Say we set it up on a Friday, one had bad epoxy, it fails out all the samples we were testing, and then we lose the whole weekend. But with an instrument like this, that can never happen because it would keep that bad sample from being introduced into an active test anyhow. And with the alterations that we have made for the sensor, we actually can test at shorter exam times as well.
Nice. So that improves throughput. It just keeps testing going. Very
Exactly.
good. Very good. Over the years, we've tested many bottles and thermoform trays for oxygen transmission rate at ambient temperature, right? Ambient lab temperatures and conditions. So what is the advantage of testing samples at higher and lower temperatures?
The advantage of testing at higher or lower temperatures is because you can actually simulate your supply chain. So say you're in production and you want to distribute and you have to put your products on the back of a hot semi that has a high humidified environment and it's a lot warmer than, say, a store shelf.
Sure.
So this instrument allows you to simulate those actual conditions so you can better understand the rigors that are placed upon your package system during transportation of the supply chain.
Nice.
Also, what it allows you to do is do accelerated testing as well, because a lot of our customers like to do accelerated testing. So this has that capability as well, and it provides you with the most consistent real-life data. Because of course, we always advise our customers to test at the most real-life conditions.
Absolutely. Now explain how this instrument is capable of testing all types of packages.
So this instrument can test any package that does not have any element of porosity. Because if you have any element of porosity, then the two gases intermix and you'll get erroneous data.
Absolutely.
And from the volume here, you can see that it's quite large, so you have the capability to test 4 3-liter bottles in here.
Good. Now, what are the benefits of testing specific types of packages on the OX-TRAN 240?
Well, what's great about this instrument is that we can test packaging systems that were very hard to obtain meaningful data on in the past. For instance, you have your O-rings, you have your paper cartons, very large trays. If you see here, this fixture here, this is a very large tray, which a lot of the times there's a lot of difficulty testing this because it's hard enough to find a plate big enough. Another great feature of this instrument is that we have the capability to create specialized testing cartridges. So say you have a very unique application, you can work with our engineering team to design a cartridge that's specific to your application for your testing.
Nice. So what specific feature helps our customers increase throughput when testing their packages?
Glad you asked that. What we have here is a conditioning rack. Now this is an optional feature with this instrument that allows one to actually condition in the real test environment.
Nice.
Now a lot of our customers, you know, they do a lot of flushing offline, but they're not actually in the test environment. So what sets this apart is that the time to reach equilibrium is going to be very minimal. Because say you've been running in here for 2 days, it's just a quick disengage, you know, push one button, push another button, and now you're ready to start testing.
So this is the optional conditioning rack that saves time.
Definitely saves a lot of time. And well, you know the pain of conditioning with Tygon tubing, and you got grease on your fingers and you're trying to pull it off and then you have to wrench it. Like, there's no more of that with this instrument.
Exactly. Okay.
We've streamlined that whole process.
Good. So are there any special features about the OX-TRAN 240 that you'd like to mention?
Yes, the auto sequential testing feature.
Nice.
Why this feature is beneficial is because it allows someone to mimic the supply chain, as we briefly spoke on earlier. It allows someone to do this automatically without being present, because what you're going to do is you're going to set convergence criteria for each test before it moves on to the next test.
Nice.
So you can test up to 10 separate testing conditions, temp and RH conditions, for your package without being present. And that'll also increase throughput as well.
Okay. So Michael, before we end, are there any additional capabilities that you'd like to mention?
With this instrument, we still have the capability to test conventionally prepped packages, just like this one right here.
Nice.
So for any further questions or additional information, please check out our website at www.amitechmocon.com or check in with your local sales rep.